Remember that feeling? The calendar notification pops up, meeting with HR, discussion, and your stomach instantly tightens. That was me last year. I still remember staring at my screen, worrying about what might be coming. 15 minutes later, I heard those words. Unfortunately, your position has been eliminated. Just like that, I was restructured. I'm not going to lie, I spent the first 48 hours in complete shock, staring at the empty ceiling, sweatpants, questioning every career choice I'd ever made. Maybe you've been there too. But what I want to share today isn't some magical success formula. It's the messy, honest journey of how that layoff ultimately led me to a job that actually fits my life better, and the psychological shifts that made all the difference. When you're suddenly laid off, something happens to your self-image. Research shows that job loss ranks among life's most stressful events, right up there with major illness and divorce. There's a reason for that. Our work becomes part of our identity. So when that gets stripped away, the story we tell ourselves and others really matters. I discovered this the hard way in my first interview after the layoff. When they asked why I left my previous company, I stumbled through an explanation, feeling like I needed to apologize for being inferior for something that wasn't my fault. What worked so much better was simple honesty with a focus on growth. My department went through a significant downsizing that affected about half our team. During my time there, I managed projects that improved our net customer net promoter score by 15%. The layoff was difficult, but it helped me clarify what I'm looking for. A supportive environment where I can continue solving complex problems with measurable impact. See the difference? No defensiveness, no oversharing, just acknowledging reality while highlighting what you bring to the table. This isn't about spinning a perfect story. It's about finding your authentic voice when you need it most. Can I share something embarrassing? After my layoff, I spent 3 whole days just scrolling. LinkedIn, job boards, even my old company's website, looking for answers maybe, or just avoiding reality. Then came the panic applications. I applied to 45 jobs in one night, positions I wasn't sure what the requirements were, roles I didn't even want. Just throwing my resume into the digital void and hoping someone would write back. Nobody did. A week in, I hit what psychologists call the grief stage of job loss. I was angry one moment, bargaining the next. Maybe if I email this colleague, then just deeply sad. This isn't talked about enough, how personally we can take professional rejection. The turning point wasn't dramatic. I was having coffee with my former mentor, venting about how nobody was calling back, when she asked me a question that changed everything. What problem do you most enjoy solving? Not what job do you want, but what problem energizes me? That simple reframe shifted something. Instead of seeing myself as damaged goods, I started reconnecting with the work that made me feel empowered and valued. I rewrote my resume, not with fancy keywords, but around specific challenges I'd helped solve. In interviews, instead of anxiously trying to hide my employment gap, I started asking thoughtful questions about their business challenges. During one interview for an analytics role, the conversation naturally turned to a customer experience issue we were having. Instead of just claiming I could help, I shared a similar challenge from my experience and walked through my approach. The hiring manager later told me that this real-world problem-solving was what set me apart. The job I eventually landed wasn't the highest-paying offer I received, but it was with a team where I felt I would have the most support, a leader I looked up to, a team I could do meaningful work with. And this realization gives me a lot of peace. Looking back, here's what I wish someone had told me in those first disorienting days after my layoff. First, your emotions are normal. Let it happen instead of denying it. Studies show that job loss triggers the same brain regions as physical pain. That's not weakness, it's being human. Give yourself permission to feel before rushing into action. Second, how we talk to ourselves matters more than we realize. When I stopped saying I got laid off and started saying I'm searching for my next career, something subtle shifted. Language shapes our reality. Third, and this is important, your professional value isn't defined by your employment status. It is defined by the skills, experience, and network you have accumulated along the way. This seems obvious, but in those vulnerable moments, we forget. Your skills, experience, and unique perspective exist independent of any company's decision. The hardest truth? A layoff forces you to confront questions you might have been avoiding. For me, It was realizing I let myself get stuck in a good enough job because I was afraid of change. The layoff removed that choice and ultimately pushed me toward a better, more challenging position that fit into my long-term career vision. Research shows that many people eventually view their layoff as a blessing in disguise that forced necessary growth. I'm not saying it's easy. Some days were genuinely awful. But there's something powerful about rebuilding on your own terms. I've learned that career resilience isn't about never falling. It's about how we make meaning from those falls. The story you tell yourself about this experience will shape not just your next job, but how you view your entire professional journey. If you're watching this from that uncomfortable in-between place after a layoff, I see you. This isn't just a career blip. It's a deeply personal experience that touches every part of your life. What helped me most wasn't pushing away the difficult feelings. It was acknowledging them while still taking small steps forward each day. Some days that meant updating my resume. Other days, it just meant going for a walk to clear my head. I'd love to hear your experience in the comments. What's been the hardest part of your career transition? What unexpected insight has helped you? If you found this helpful, hit like and subscribe for more conversations about navigating the human side of work. Remember, your career is a long story. This difficult chapter doesn't define the whole book.